Welcome to the Go Shout Love podcast. My name is Seth Carnell, and in this episode, we are talking to Alvaro, or Al, and Ashley Montano. They are the parents of Ryder and Harper, two of the amazing 5 kiddos that we are shouting love for this month from Southern California. Ryder has Williams syndrome and post-pump chorea, and Harper has severe autism level 3 and a rare gene deletion. You can read more about that on our website, goshout.love. Although we originally sat down with both Ashley and Al had to step away to spend some time with Harper, who was upset. And you can hear her in the background. And that's where we will begin this episode. It may be a little jarring at first, but I encourage you, please stick with it. The conversation that comes after is worth it. Although you can only hear what's going on, it does give you a glimpse into the life of this wonderful family. With me interviewing is Jessica Santo, our family relations director and talented photographer. Please, after listening, go and shout love for us by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcast. To begin, here is Ashley Montano, Ryder and Harper's mom, who is talking to us about the diagnosis.
So small, it was working as a bodybuilder's heart in a little baby's body. So he would get very tired, very fatigued, just very not himself all the time. He would be sleeping, his eyes were super puffy. He was born blue, low blood sugar. These things were not super warning signs to us, which is very scary now looking back, because the hospital was like, oh, he's just cold, he's fine. And now as a heart mom, I'm like, no, girl, he was not cold, and no, he was not just fine. Yeah. 2 days after, we did find out that he had a murmur from the hospital pediatrician. So, find cardiologist, find a heart surgeon. So we found all that. That's when he got diagnosed. And
so did something happen in surgery that oh, we've got a little girl coming in sad and scared.
Yeah. And this is Harper.
This is Harper.
Hi, Harper.
She's like my parents. It's okay. Ryder's like, come on, sis.
I'm going like, Jess is like a miracle worker with kids.
She is. Harper's like, wait.
All right, we're going to let her do that, and I'll just kind of take over.
Yes.
She's amazing when it comes to these kind of situations. Is it difficult to calm her down whenever she's, like, normally, or is this out of her element, so to speak?
It's a little bit of both.
Cannot figure out just.
And there's nothing to do to help her. There's not. And I feel like sometimes just talking to her makes it worse. She gets even more pissed. It's like sometimes it's better just to ignore her.
I'm sure it's hard too, because I'm sure she has a hard time communicating.
And that's where the frustration lies. And it's like, if we could all communicate together, it would work a lot better. But that's in a perfect world.
Has to be highly tested.
Yes, every single day. Because sometimes I just want to be like, girl, seriously? Why?
It reminds me of how I would, when my son doesn't sleep and I wake up in the middle of the night, there's nothing to calm him.
Right.
That frustration.
It's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what do you want me to do to make this better? Yeah. If you would tell me, I would actually do it. I'm pretty sure I would probably do it.
Yeah.
So what we can do?
Yeah, that's
what we can do is we can jump into like the heart of what our of what we're trying to aim for the podcast. Okay. Because a lot of the diagnosis and stuff we'll be able to share through social media and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can tell by interactions, like your life is not easy.
No.
Because of the diagnosis that
right.
you have.
It makes things a lot more difficult. Right. And I feel like it makes me not want to do anything because it just is so difficult.
How do you deal with that stress and patience that you have to have?
I just stay home.
Yeah.
Honestly, because going anywhere is just so much work.
And that's what,
unless I'm forced to go there, I'm going to stay home.
And we say in almost every podcast that our families always say it's really lonely. It can get really lonely.
It is really lonely because I feel like people don't understand. It's not like I don't want to go, because I do want to go.
It's a lot of work.
But it's just a lot of pressure and a lot of work. And it's like, what if my kid's screaming the whole time? Or what if they just are uncomfortable? Or, sometimes sensory things bother Ryder, noises, sounds. I'm like, we go somewhere, the gardener's there. I'm like, we can't be here. Like, it's going to bother Ryder. And there's nothing I can do to change that. You know what I'm saying? It's the world that we live in. It's loud. But unfortunately for my kids, it's just sometimes a little bit too loud. So that's why it's sometimes a little bit more easy. I mean, not more easy, because at home they're still getting into everything, but it's a lot more confined for me, where I feel a little bit more comfortable. because outside I just am always worried, what if Harper runs away? I've already had an instance where I was getting them out of the car by myself and Harper got out of the stroller and ran into the street, and it's I'm trying to get Ryder and I'm trying to get her, and it's not like I can tell Ryder sit in the stroller, he doesn't listen or understand like that. So it just makes things a lot more complicated, and cognitively she doesn't understand the safety that comes with running away from mom. It's just not super conducive for all of us to be safe, you know?
Yeah. So what would you tell a parent who's facing this from they're at the beginning of this journey?
You can do this. There's life after a diagnosis, and some days it's really hard, and some days it's really frustrating, and some days I feel like a failure as a mom, that I lost my temper. But we're all moms, and we're all doing the very best that we can given our circumstances, and it's never going to be perfect as we hope. It's just going to be life, and we just have to learn to embrace the joy that comes with it.
And we've seen in the LA area that there seems to be a really good group of moms who are on rare journeys, that the warrior moms that I've seen on Instagram.
Yes.
You guys are really rallying together to help each other out, which is beautiful.
It is beautiful. It makes you feel like you have a community, regardless if our children have the same diagnosis or completely different diagnosis. Yeah. It makes you feel like somebody's there and somebody
that they understand.
Gets it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can be real with them and share the goods and the bads that you can share with other people.
Exactly. Yeah. That people are like, oh my gosh, you know? You have to have that tribe or that community that understands that this is our life and this is how it is, and there's no fabricating or sugarcoating it. This is us.
What you get.
Yes.
So in the same vein, what would you go back and tell a younger version of yourself, maybe just entering into Ryder's condition?
You're pregnant with Ryder. You think that it's going to be from a magazine. You think it's going to be exactly what it is.
I was 20 years old when I had Ryder.
For so many moms out there. So if you could go back and tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question.
We thrive on giving hard questions.
I know. I'm just trying to think of a good answer. I don't know. I would tell myself that no matter how hard it gets, there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
And that
works, and it's really hard to see the light some days.
I've always, even with my kids, told myself there's always bedtime. There's always going to be a break.
And there's always going to be a new day to start over. And that's the beauty of life, is we always get another day. And it's going to be a fresh new start. And it doesn't matter how yesterday was. We can forget about it.
Yep.
So can I ask, in experiencing all those lows, what would be the biggest moment of pain in this journey?
I think the biggest moment of pain was when Ryder lost all of his abilities after the open heart surgery. I think that was something that came as a major shock and just something that we weren't expecting. I know that we were expecting plenty of other potential side effects from open heart surgery.
I mean, you were just dealing alone with open heart surgery.
Right.
That alone is too much.
And a new diagnosis. We literally just found out he had Williams syndrome in December, and he had open heart surgery in March. So we were barely just going through the grief stages of what even is Williams syndrome, you know, what does this entail for his life, for our life? What can we do to make it the best life? And then we had all these other things kind of thrown at us and all these other hurdles that we kind of had to jump. But honestly, I feel like those are things that what make our journey amazing and what teach us what to be grateful really is, and what teach us to be the best parents that we can be, and just to give it our all, even though it may not be perfect or it may not be the best every single day. We just try to make it better than what it was, you know.
Yeah. I want to take a second to let you know that as a team, we love introducing the world to awesome families, but we also love helping them with real everyday needs. That's why we sell creative apparel, and half of all proceeds go directly to those families. So head over to our website, goshout.love, and purchase a t-shirt, mug, hat, or more to help with costs related to giving Ryder and Harper the medical care that they deserve. You can also start a monthly subscription and shout love for great families every month. Use the discount code PODCAST at checkout to save $5 on your first order when you start a subscription. Again, it's $5 off your first month with the discount code PODCAST at checkout. And now back to the interview. Do you have a moment that sticks out as a win? This is a good moment that helps me know that I can keep going for my kids.
I think the moment for me was when just maybe a couple months ago, I went to Ryder's school because his teacher had called me and said that he had fallen into the door and that his head was bleeding. So I was freaked out. I was driving as fast as I could to get to the damn school, and I get there and he's fine. Literally 1 drop of blood. I'm like, I was freaking out this whole time. And I get there and he is feeding himself with a fork. I did not even know he did this, knew how to do this. I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it is about. Like, this is what all my hard work and all the endless hours that you've like put into therapy and all of these things, like, it's full circle. You can feed yourself again. Like, this is one step towards independence that I am just praising everything for. This is what we could ever hope for you.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see Ryder walk around the way he does. It is fascinating.
It's scary. It's scary.
It's a little scary
when you first see it. It's initially terrifying.
He has no fear. You want to like. All of a sudden, I started looking at all the sharp edges.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh!
But just like any other little boy,
amazing.
He wants to explore. He wants to move around.
Yeah,
he wants to,
and that's beautiful.
Understand his environment, and that's what I love about him. And it's amazing to see him want to explore, because before, when we would go out, it would just be a lot of kind of like Harper, melting down, crying, uncomfortable, just too much stimulation. We're in a new place. I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable. Now he adjusts and he kind of shows off his real personality, and I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him outside and doing these things, because
I saw that he played baseball over the weekend.
Yes, his first game was on Saturday.
How proud was Al? Was Al
crying? Yes, crying, because inclusion. Like, we have buddies that are pushing them, and it means so much, not only for Ryder but for his buddy that's going to learn. Like, all of my friends are different, and I may need to help one of my friends out a little bit more than somebody else. But look at the joy that it's bringing to these kids, because honestly, to see those kids light up after they hit the ball or ran the bases, it's just like, this is what life's about right here.
It's beautiful.
It is, and it's great because the coach is one of the therapists that works at Ryder's unit, so he's known Ryder for
you're comfortable
years.
With
yes,
that's incredible.
It's great.
I just think everybody's going to be excited to meet your kiddos and go to her Instagram feed and watch Ryder walk around.
These kids are incredible.
They are.
Watch my fake perfect pictures.
No, but that's what's so wonderful about your feed, though. It's not fake.
I mean, it's
you have a lot.
It's the moments that I capture of them.
Yes, and you have a lot of beauty in your life, and
that's what I feel like. That's where I can relate to so many more moms, because I'm not over here trying to fabricate that everything's peachy keen.
And like, in a perfect world, Al would have been on this podcast with us, but he has to go help Harper
because Harper doesn't want anything else but that.
There's a reality of life that's involved.
It is, because it's only us two, and that's what we rely on, is us to support. So if it's not one of us, it's the other.
It has to have probably. It has shifted your marriage, I'm sure, a little bit when you have to work together,
everything,
and frustrations and
things that you don't necessarily always agree on, because that's how it is, and you just learn how to just meet in the middle. Yeah. And he's amazing. He's so spectacular. Literally, the guy will work 22 hours and come home and Ryder's up, and he'll go and hang out with him. Aww. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's worked so hard and still helps me out with the G-tube or does this and helps with Harper so much. It's just, I'm grateful for it. Although it's hard some days because he's gone a lot and I'm doing it all by myself, doctor's appointments and all of these fun things. But
I love seeing in his eyes, you can tell just how much he loves his kids.
He does.
It's amazing to watch that.
Yes.
And Ryder loves him.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right. And they're both obsessed with him. They both have different relationships, and it makes me so happy because we're all each other has. We don't have family support. We don't have any of that. Mama? So it's just us.
So to kind of wrap this up, I guess my last question would be, what dreams do you have for Ryder and for Harper? What would you like to see in their future?
My dreams are just for them to have the best quality of life, whatever that means. Whatever that means for them in the future is what I hope for. Yeah. I just hope that we can give them the best quality of life, and I just want them to know that whatever it is that they decide to do, we support it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you. I know it wasn't easy, just in parking here, but getting the kids out and being around this area.
We have a lot of people ready to shout loud for us.
Yeah, we really do.
We're so excited and so appreciative of this.
Fun. It's going to be a fun month.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're excited to see our other friends on here too.
It's our first. It'll be our first month featuring multiple kiddos, but we're excited.
and such a great group of kids.
Yeah, well, they're all, we've met
Amazing
a lot of
and so rare
great
in their own unique ways. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when you meet other families, it teaches you so much more because we all still have so much more to learn. Every day I'm trying to learn more. Like, oh my gosh, that's a great way to look at it. Or
It's incredible how many similarities are there just in lessons that you guys learn with these kids, but how individual the stories are.
yes,
And that's why we love our shirt, because we find that common thread with all of our families, and it relates
Yeah.
so well.
It does.
There's always a common thread.
There
with
always
these stories,
is.
and you have to dig deep to find it, but it's there.
it is
It's
there. And when
beautiful.
you find that community, it's amazing.
Yeah,
We should probably go help out Al.
yeah. Let's go find Al.
Thank
and-
you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Shouters, thank you for listening to this episode. Please go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review us. We would love for this to reach more people who might be blessed by the content of each episode. Also, start a subscription using the promo code podcast at checkout to get $5 off your first month. See you next time.